Iran wants war with the US. Bitcoin, S&P 500, alts, this could be very, very red. Let's break it down. Yesterday, this was put out. So the US went and did a successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran. This is uranium enrichment, and calls at the end, time for peace. Any retaliation by Iran against the United States will be met with force far greater than what they've witnessed. He had this as an address, and the Supreme Leader has come back saying, we reserve the right to strike the US under the UN's Charter's Self-Defense Clause. US President Trump has betrayed not only Iran, but has also deceived his nation. The big thing in terms of what we're looking at, because we're not trying to cover geopolitics, like half of crypto Twitter is suddenly experts in geopolitics, but what we're looking at is like how this news will basically affect what positions we're in, because we can't control geopolitics. All we can really control is our exposure to certain assets. So right now, we're in wait. We're trying to work out like what is the direction of the market. There's a bit of red, which we'll cover shortly though. The big thing that will push it to a far more red, to be a whole lot more red in the market, is if Iran closes this strait. UAE is here, Dubai is like somewhere around here, which is geopolitically, this is a very dangerous situation to be in. But if this is closed, then it means that oil, like a huge amount of oil, will not go out. 90% of it goes to China. And it's important to know that they've threatened closure 10 times since 2000. Hasn't happened yet, but this would push oil up massively. So 20% of the world's oil moves through here, could spike oil up to $150 overnight. If that happens, the world just kind of stops functioning, because it's such an oil-based economy. However, it's important to know this, that they have threatened over 10 times. Just keep that in mind. And blockage of this route would result in near certain military action by the US, Israel, and others. It would have to be. Like, the world is an oil economy. Oil makes things work. Now, this is a little bit ironic, because these are not the type of people that generally try to work on a resolution. So let's see what happens. But Russia, China, and Pakistan proposed UN draft resolution calling for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire in the Middle East. And Israel launches a new attack on this nuclear site. Trump had initially said that like it was all taken out, but I do not believe that to be the case. I'm not an expert in bombs or anything, but just from what I've been looking at Twitter, I do not believe that to be a case. I think this is a PR thing. Massive amount was liquidated on this news, of course, and we can see in the 24-hour today, we've had more longs liquidated, but some shorts as well. The market still, it's kind of balanced. It hasn't really gone one way or the other. One super important thing to keep in mind is this all really comes down to like the fear and greed index. If you just want to keep things simple, when things are fearful, you buy. When things are greedy, you sell. We were fearful yesterday. Prices dipped up a little bit today, and that's what we've got, a neutral rating right now. I don't want to go too much over liquidation, so we're just going to touch on it very briefly. It's fairly equal. The war is like the big thing. However, back to the thesis that I think is really valuable. Rob Paul points out the M2 supply, like you can't take it to the day, right? And there's going to be some people in the comments that are like, well, you said, well, I said this is a valuable resource that I'm following. I think it has a huge amount of value. And in addition to that, there was no news of a Middle Eastern war coming out. What we've got here, though, is you can see we were actually dipping down with M2 supply, and we come up soon. But I don't think it's as simple as that. If there's a war, that is different news. But remember, we covered this before last week. You've got to zoom out a little bit. There's typically recoveries. You could, nothing's financial advice, be buying a bit more Sol here, be buying a bit of Bitcoin. We can cover that in a short moment. Bitcoin in US dollar, though, with Katoshi settings, it is still in a downtrend. And I'm not shorting this, like you've missed your short opportunity, but it's not green at all. And the big thing is we've gone below the 50-day moving average. And what the problem here is, when we come under this, we could be having some resistance. We have to give it a couple more days to see the direction. I do think we have more people coming in to buy lower though. Now back to Benjamin Cohen, which we've covered before. He's thinking the next low is around August and September, but he's basing it on just the last couple of years, which I don't love too much because of the fact that they were bear markets. Keeping in mind that Solana had a fantastic August, a really fantastic August in 2021. So this all relates really to money printing and what it could do, and that's relevant because we're not expecting a rate cut until September. So it could line up from that point of view, but eventually there's going to have to be some kind of call for some strong alts to start to outperform. What he's thinking here is, though, that this literally comes down to the range lows. This is the alt BTC pairs. We've certainly slightly broken through the trend on the war news, but if you are holding conviction pieces, then you shouldn't lose conviction because of a dip. Nothing's stopping Michael Saylor from just accumulating more buy orders in Bitcoin, of course, and CZ just putting it out there again. By definition, everything before the next all-time high is a dip. The meme is buy the dip. The better meme is dollar cost average, more so when things are fearful if you believe in the potential of the technology. Now, Bonkai has a perfect product market fit when it comes to his tokens. They don't just all go up just automatically, though. Retail hasn't come. I still feel retail is coming this cycle. Those that are saying otherwise, that is their opinion, and they could be right, but I don't think that the market makers of the world are going to let a cycle happen in this stage of like craziness in the world without getting retail involved. They just haven't put the focus on it yet. So he thinks Bonk, Flocky, Fartcoin, and Useless could be worth a buy. And three of them, this one, can all be done with DLMMing as well. Useless as an example, you can go and set a fib. I've shown you how to do that, but if you mark it out yourself, you can see it's been, they're really respecting the fibs. Everything actually has been. Same with Fartcoin, but to keep in mind, like one strategy, we've covered this in like our live stream videos that happened a couple of weeks ago. If it goes down, like I'm not necessarily, if it goes down and I bid ask, I'm going to sell it as it moves on up. And any kind of Fartcoin position that I want to hold for longer, I'll do so, but not in this situation right now. This is some really cool news though. So Solana Floors reported on this. Solana on-chain perps saw 92 million SOL liquidations, nearly double the 47 million on centralized exchanges. And this shows the highlights growing demand on trading perps natively on Solana. But even better, it shows that people on Solana are actually using Solana. So it's a really used chain. I'm very bullish on Solana, as you know. Very bullish on the future of Fogo, which is an SVM, which will be even faster for this trading purpose. In terms of trading as well, I've heard some pretty damn good things about Flash Rate being upgraded with speed, but I haven't played with it yet. Deadline though for October 15 if you have Flash Beast to burn and then claim your FAF. If you think this has potential, then you can go and stake that FAF as well. Now the S&P 500 is not too far from its all-time high as well. So, I mean, it is down, yes, but in terms of like what's going on, what's happening next, these kind of predictions are something that no one's really going to make because no one understands the Middle East conflict other than intelligence agencies, which we are not privy to. But I have been speaking to some people with far more than a basic level understanding of this. And I'm not going to get into it here because it's not the right appropriate channel for it. But I will say that the market has not priced in that things actually go to war. So think whatever you want to think. This is where we are right now. S&P 500 still shows a huge amount of strength. And I think that's kind of indicative that we're in a bit of a time when I don't want to make any big predictions because things can travel really fast. Of course, you want to have some safety out there, but the red in the market is not exceptional. We just have to wait and see what Iran does. Keeping in mind that my general opinion from my research is that Iran doesn't have the strength that people they think they have, or they know they don't have a whole lot of strength. Actually, what they do have to do is save face against their citizens. Now, there is some red in the market, as we can see, and this has just become a little bit more in the last few minutes since I started recording. But this is a small amount of a dip. If we're properly going to war, this will be far greater. You can see Tesla outperforming. That's news that robot taxis are kind of coming out, which pushed up the Tesla stock. That's everything for today. Thanks for joining in. Catch you tomorrow.